Hey y'all, hey, so I'm back with another video. So I want to thank everybody for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. I'm actually a little over, let me see, 1,000 subscribers. Let me see where I'm at right now. Let me see where I'm at right now. 1,008 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. Again, I started this journey 6 years ago just because I would see like a lot of news entertainment stuff and have nobody to talk to about. So I just was like, let me run my mouth on camera. And I never expected nobody to pay attention. That's why if you go back, you'll see like the first majority of my time doing this, I was very inconsistent. I only got serious really over like the last 2 years, and it really has paid off and showed. So I want to thank everybody. I don't know how the hell that video about me and Lathan took off the way that it did. I don't know what happened, but if you liked it, thank you very much. Everybody that commented, thank you very much. All of the new subscribers that I got from that video, thank you so much. I'm new to this, like, well, not new, but I'm new in, like, you know, my growing journey. So, you know, welcome. Before I give a little bit more, I get into my stuff a little bit, I do want to shout out a few of my subscribers that have literally been here with me. Granted, I'm only at 1K, but these people, they've been locked in and loaded. They watch, they comment. So first of all, number one, JC5756, he watches every video. He comments on every video. I know he watches the whole thing. He comments throughout. And I also see him all over YouTube. I literally see him all over YouTube comments. That's the homie. He been supporting me from the beginning. Shout out to him. Also, Quentin Baptiste 7237. That's my other homie. Always looking out. Another person, JTA. Shout out to you. Like, shout out to y'all, because y'all really been in the trenches with me, and y'all are the real MVPs when it really gets down to it. Shout out to y'all. Another person I also want to give a shout out to is, like I always tell y'all, is T-Go Crazy. If y'all don't know, the YouTube reactor, that's my homie. Like I said, he's the one who helped me with like the OBS. If I ever have a question about like YouTube, he's extremely helpful. And as somebody that has like, he's at what, almost 200,000 subscribers, the fact that he even helps me, that's the homie. Shout out to him. But we are now going to get into what the fuck are we talking about. Okay, so again, if you're new to this, you know, this is pretty much when I come in and I just kind of talk about, you know, different topics that happen throughout the week. I always tell people, like, put in the comments of like this video of what you want me to talk about in the next week's video, because sometimes honestly I don't care enough, or something happens at the top of the week and by the end of the week I forget it. So I've been trying to like take notes throughout the week of topics and things that I really want to cover. So because I got a lot of my subscribers from this last video, the whole Van Lathan, talking about the whole Van Lathan and him and Rachel and his whole outburst, okay, around what Rachel was talking about. So today the High Learning podcast came out, and you know, of course, the first like 10-15 minutes Van pretty much talks. Now mind you, I also want to say that Rachel did not cut him off one time. I just want to say she did not cut him off. All she did is she did not cut him off once. Just want to bring that up. But it's funny because when you go into the comments is like, so you're not going to apologize. I'm going to get into what he said because I took notes on everything that he said. He really didn't apologize. He didn't apologize, okay? But he just really, honestly, like, meandered and just went all around the merry bush. It was like a very long-winded situation when he really could have just wrapped all this up by saying, I'm sorry that I stepped on I'm sorry, Rachel, that I cut you off and I was being disrespectful by doing that. I'm sorry about making this conversation about something and taking this conversation and making it about something that it wasn't. And y'all were right about the fact that I felt a little bit triggered by that, and so I responded in not the best way. And then we could have just went on. Like, you could have knocked that out in all of 5 minutes. Meanwhile, we got the whole background of his... We went through his whole lineage and the fact that his grandmama was a side piece. Like, I don't even know how we got there. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. We got there somehow within this 10-15 minute rant. But I did take notes on some of the stuff that he said. So, to be fair, he started off by saying, and I'm sorry, I have notes here. So he did start off by saying that the convo that he was trying to have, it was extremely ill-timed, and that the point that Rachel was trying to make, like we all said, about how, you know, certain black people act around Aiden, how that is supposed to be part of the conversation. He acknowledged that. He also said that he also said that he understands that Aiden only acts like that, again, kind of like Rachel said, because of the people around him, and that Aiden is often surprised that he gets like the heat for things, but not the people like that's around him, because they pretty much do the same thing, but nobody says anything to them. But it's because we don't really know. These people they don't have names, like, you know, like they're not notable names that we would know anything about. So then he goes on to say, okay, so now that I got that out the way, like I want to talk about why it happened, like why I reacted that way. So he said, first, my thing is because I felt a way about glasses. And long story short, because again, he meandered, I'm just going to wrap up my own damn notes. He pretty much said that he felt happy about the fact that it was glasses that actually stood up for Doshi, because I guess he brought up the fact that maybe he wanted to bring glasses up to the podcast and people wasn't really with it. But I guess he pretty much was saying that he feels like men like glasses, which I'm gonna say is just more so like street leaning type of niggas or whatever, that they are often like disregarded and discarded when it comes to like maybe the type of spaces that he's in, or, you know, people that are just a little bit maybe further along in like, I don't know, their self-evolution or black evolution, however the hell you want to look at it. And he feels like at times those people are, again, discarded. They're seen as not being useful. So the fact that glasses is the one that stood up for Doshi, he really wanted to highlight, because he feels like normally the type of man that glasses is, people wouldn't expect somebody like that. People would not expect someone like him to have stood up for Doshi, right? So that was his first point. And then his second point was that he said when the people that was saying that I saw myself in those black men and that's why I reacted that way were absolutely right. I said, oh yeah, I said that. And he said, because I was more so like them for most of my life than I am how I am now. So long point. The point of the matter is that he pretty much feels like when we are that, I guess we should be careful and more, let me see, what did he say? We should be, I guess, more careful about the way we speak about into that type of black man, because they're often the ones that's most like criticized within the community, but then at the same time, like when shit hits the fan, like they're also the ones that people are like calling, and they also have like I said, you know, value and things like that. And he feels like those people, you know, like the people that are around Aiden that may be a little bit, you know, younger and black or whatever, that are, you know, just allowing those things, he feels like they are victims, you know, to, you know, history, and, you know, we just need to have like a better understanding. And I wrote down what I wanted to say, because I wanted to be very, like, again, careful with my words here. FD Signifier actually talks about this a lot. I watched his video talking about this, and I was extremely disappointed until I read his comment where he came back and he clarified. He went back and watched the whole thing and then clarified his point. He got what the rest of us was saying. But in his comment and also in that video, he's talked about this, like I said, in past videos before, is he feels like, I guess I would say, not to call glasses this, but I'm just saying, like, I guess what he represents, glasses, I guess, represents more of, like, the street nigga, right? And FD has said in the past that he also feels like the way that sometimes we engage with, like, those specific, you know, that specific population, it's not necessarily the best. It comes off a lot of times like we're looking our nose down at them, and like I think Van said, like there's no nuance a lot of times that's being given to them. It's just more so like you're this type of person and you're a bad person and you're this and you're that, and that's just all that it is, right? And that we need to do a better job. Those of us that are a little bit, you know, further along in our, like I said, soul journey, blackness journey, whatever the hell you want to call it, should be a little bit more, I guess, maybe softer or kind, or just kind of change our approach on these people if we ever want them, you know, to like come along in their journey. And Van also said that he was like, you know, I was that person at one point in time and I'm not that person today, but you know, I don't think, pretty much he doesn't think sometimes that the way that people talk about that particular group or segment of people is ever going to help them get any further than what they need to. I know, you see how that was a lot of me going around a mulberry bush? That's because that's what he did for 15 minutes. So I'm sorry if that was long drawn out. So here's my thing about that. Like first and foremost, I'm glad that he stated all of that at the beginning, because the point of the matter is that all of that, we could, like, that conversation can be had. But that was not the point of that conversation that y'all were having. And like you said, because you felt hit, like a hit dog collar, like I said, you turned the conversation. And my thing is, it's not only so much that you just turned the conversation as like, oh, I felt hit and this is da. It's also the fact that you completely flipped it and said, well, if it was a black woman, like, you did that too. And I didn't hear nothing about that in your explanation of why you did what you did. I'm not here to hold nobody's feet to the fire. You know, it is what it is. We see each other. But the point of the matter is that, like you said, it was ill timed. That was not the point of that conversation. And if anything, you probably need to, I don't know if you're in therapy, not to be judgy, but you need to go get that worked out, like I said, and you need to get that healed. If you're feeling hit every single time, you can feel some type of way overall if you want to, but if you was really listening to what she said, she was being very specific in her wording. So again, I feel like if you feel so hit and touched by that, maybe you're not completely over and healed from that part in your life, and maybe we need to continue to work on that, right? But I also wrote this down because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't misspeaking when I said this, okay? Okay. There is, I don't want to read it verbatim, but I wanted to make sure I got my shit right. In regards to the conversation that he's talking about, there's absolutely merit into having a conversation about the way specific, like I said, black people that are not necessarily, you know, like I said, so far into their journey or whatever, however you want to fucking phrase it, right? I understand that. However, I feel like there's a few things with that, because again, we're talking about nuance, right? I think that there's definitely merit to that conversation, and I do think that there are things that, you know, we can always work on. But I also want to say that, number one, it feels to me sometimes, like I said, like it's kind of framed as if like there is almost no leniency given to this type of person, to this segment of people, and that, like, for the most part, we are all just jumping down this person's or this specific type of person's throat. And I just find that so interesting, because when he was like, you know, these people are victims of certain things, and it's like, well, most of us understand that. That's what kind of bothered me a little bit about what Van said, because you're saying that as if, especially that as like black women, we don't understand that. Like, we don't understand the already implicit history and racism, all that shit that come. We know that. We know that. Why do you think most niggas get away with the shit that they get away with? Because there's an understanding, right? There's an understanding. That's why you send regardless of your cousin going to jail about 10,000 times for, I don't know, selling weed or whatever, you know he shouldn't be. You understand the complexity of everything and how he got there, blah, 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 blah. You understand all that. It's the same way, like, if you grow up with somebody and you see how from a very young age their mama wasn't shit, so then you see when they become older that they wasn't shit. It's not that it makes it okay that they ain't shit, but there is an understanding, so you let certain things slide. And it's very confusing to me that there's this assumption that, like, these niggas don't get the slide at all. Like, it's just completely 1,010% everybody just down on them at the same time. That's not really true. If you look in real life, I'm just saying, like, personally, if you look in, like, music, why do you think we're okay with the music? And when I mean music, I'm just talking about the content. But then, you know, like hip-hop and stuff, why do you think we accept a lot of that? Because there's an implicit understanding that's already there about certain things. That doesn't need to be told to a lot of us. Especially if you're talking about, I guess, I don't even know what you would call yourself. I guess he said elevated. I guess that's the way that he expressed it. I won't call it elevated, but whatever you want to call it. I think there's an understanding of that already. So, like, there's that part. But then also, it is sometimes very frustrating to say you need to be soft to this person that's harming you. Does that make sense? Like, not that this person is actually harming you, but to say, like, this person is being racist or sexist, and because we understand the way that, you know, society is set up and the white power structure, all that good shit is set up, that we should now hold these people's hands and be nice to them about understanding why they're racist, why they're sexist. I mean, I guess you could do that, but it's like, it's hard to care for somebody when they're also beating your ass at the same time. Does that make sense? Like, I'm trying to help you out of the burning car, but you are literally beating my ass while I'm trying to help save you. Eventually, I'm gonna just stop. Cause I'm trying to save you, but you're beating my ass in the process. So, you know what? I might just let you go every now and again and then come back and be like, you know what? Nope. It's not about me. It's not about me. And come back. But that's kind of hard. Does that make sense? Like, you're beating my ass, but you're also asking me to be patient with you at the same time. That's how sometimes that comes off when people say things like that. Like, oh, we need to talk to them a certain way. And we need to and we need to And it's like, to a degree, yes, I do think that sometimes people talk down to maybe people that maybe are not as well read as them or as researched as them. I do think that that's a thing. But I also think that it's a slippery slope to try to tell people that while they're giving us hell, we need to extend all this grace and all this teaching. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I ain't got much more for it. Yeah, not much happened this week though. Cardi, oh lordy. I started with Van outside of my subscriber thing because I did not want to talk. I could not start with Cardi yet again. Every single what the fuck we talking about video for the last month and since this album has come out, Cardi's name in my notes has not been erased. It's just a dash and then something else. Every week. It's insane. So we have Cardi and Stefan yet again. I can't even remember what happened last time. Did we talk about the text messages? I don't think we talked about the text messages. Okay. So we all know that Stefan Diggs, Chef, you know, is accusing him of choking her out over owing him some money, right? And so, first of all, I did not know that the chef was a live-in. I confirmed that. That's interesting. And I also saw the chef. That's interesting. I'm going to tell you real shit what happened 9 times out of 10. Definitely was fucking that chef. For sure. Him and Cardi was probably definitely having a threesome. Not threesomes 9 times out of 10 with that chef. And that's probably why he felt so comfortable walking into her room. That's probably why he felt so comfortable putting his hands on her. Allegedly. But do I believe that? Yes. Now that I pretty much know that they was fucking, yeah, I absolutely believe that happened. That's why he felt so comfortable doing that. Allegedly, right? So anyway, all like this last week since the text came out right now, allegedly in the lawsuit, it said, the chef said that she had also been in contact with Stefan's girlfriend and told Stefan's girlfriend what happened. So everybody, assumed that it's Cardi. I never assumed that it was Cardi. I told y'all last week, I don't care that Cardi and Stefan said that they're together. I don't care. It's given publicity stunt. It's giving, not even publicity stunt, it's giving, you got me knocked up out of nowhere. We both, you know, famous people. You got a bag, I got a bag. Let's just try to make this work. That's what it's giving. But when it said girlfriend, I'm like, we already know that Stefan had Cardi and 3 other bitches pregnant at the same time. So who's to say that that's his girlfriend? And we also know that Cardi said she don't give a shit about him fucking around with other women. So that never confirmed to me that it was Cardi, but I understand the assumption of it. So people, again, were assuming, you know, that Cardi was the person that the chef had told. So people are like, why you didn't come out and you didn't say anything? Or why would you know that your man was putting his hands on somebody and not say anything? So I guess we're gonna kind of put all of this together, right? Because all of this happened within like the same time frame. This is going to lead into the Jessie Woo situation, and then I'm going to talk about Crystal for a quick second. So, like, let's lock in for a second, right? So, once those text messages, not text messages, once all of that happened, Cardi had hopped on Twitter. Now, I was at work when all of this happened, so I missed, like, a lot of her tweets. I had to go back and find them because it was deleted by the time I caught up. But the point of the matter is, she was online pretty much defending herself about that, and also the fact that one of the bards had pretty much like put out this rumor online that on Twitter that Cardi's father was like arrested or has some charges of sexual assault. And so she came out on Twitter to clear that up, said my father never had charges. He's never been charged with anything. Y'all are lying on me. And then also, like I said, to try to clear her name about what happened with the chef. Now, Cardi put out a text message that was allegedly from the chef. And I think at the top of the tweet, she was like, nobody ever, long story short, she said, nobody ever told me anything about hands being put on anybody. I was actually cool with her and talking to her every single day, all the way up until, you know, whatever happened. She said, and she just now, she put in all capitals, she just now text me this. And the text message pretty much was like, long story short, it was like, it didn't come out, or I'm sorry, I didn't mean it the way that it came out. Pretty much like I wasn't talking about you and I didn't mean it that way, and don't worry, like we can get this cleared up, but like please make sure you talk to my mediator or my lawyer. So from what I got from that text message to me, and especially if Cardi said she just now texted to me, it's giving that maybe the chef saw that people either took what they heard about the girlfriend thing and mistook that and, you know, made it about Cardi, and that's not what she meant, and she might have felt bad, you know, of seeing people come for Cardi knowing that that's not what it was. So from that point, okay, I don't think that she should have put out that text message, which is probably why she deleted it, because number one, like, your man or whatever you want to call him, he's in the middle of a case with this woman, and that could be seen as like, it could be twisted. I don't know how it would be, but I guess it could be twisted as like witness intimidation, because you did put her name out there. Her name was Lynette. She blanked out something else, but she did put her name out there, which was Lynette. And like, you should have just shut up and said nothing at all. Like, in my opinion, I don't think she should have posted that. I think she should have just let it play out. Like she said at the end, oh, we're just going to let this play out in court. What you should have just came out and said is, look, nobody ever reached out to me about anything, but, you know, we're just going to let everything play out in court and leave it at that. Or you should have just said nothing at all. But we know Cardi. One thing Cardi going to do is run that damn mouth, right? So she was on Spaces for like 3 hours and some change ranting about the father situation and everybody blaming her about that. So a lot of people had, you know, some things to say about the fact that she put out that text message. One of those people being Jessie Woo. Jessie Woo is like, she's a comedian. She also sings down. She's such a good singer. I love her voice. But she's also on YouTube. You know, she was on, I think, one season. Was it Love and Hip Hop Miami? I think she was on one season of Love and Hip Hop Miami. But y'all know Jessie Woo. She be all over the internet. And Jessie Woo did a video, and I'm actually gonna pull it up, right? And in that video, she read, to be fair, and I'm gonna show it because she showed the clip too. She read something, a super chat I think that she got, and the super chat was pretty much just like they were talking about the text messages, and the super chat was like, that's why Like, that's whatever, like, something about that's what Cardi gets for having a revenge baby or something like that. Something along those lines. And so, after that video had came out, Cardi the next day then goes on her spaces and starts to snap about Jessie. Now, Cardi, I guess, at first thought that Jessie was the one who said it about her having a revenge baby. She didn't, but I'm going to tell y'all why I think it doesn't matter, which Cardi ended up saying, like, yesterday. Like, we gonna watch the clip. Because in my opinion, watching the clip, Jessie's defense is, well, it's not that I said it. I was reading a comment, right? That is her defense to it. But from what I see in this clip that she even plays herself, you read the comment and then you nodded your head pretty much like in agreement. You didn't say, well, no, I don't think that's true, or no, I don't really know about all of that. You just was like pretty much in agreement with what she said. So let me see if I can find it here.
She got karma for trying to get on. She got karma for trying to get a revenge baby. It's insane.
Okay. So y'all see how she said she read it. It's not, and she said before, I just read it flat out. I didn't even put no sauce on it. You did kind of put a little bit of sauce on it because you read it and then you paused, right? And then you paused as in agreement. You said, the crazy part is she had a revenge. She had a revenge, baby. It's insane. How is that not being in agreement with that? So now Jessie's, like I said, response is, well, I never said that. I was just reading something, and now you're trying to make it seem like it was me. No, you didn't say it, but you did agree with it. You didn't stop right there and say, well, I don't really know, or let's not do that because, like, that's somebody's baby at the end of the day. And even if that's the case, whatever that, you didn't say that. So it's like, I don't have any, like, real defense for you, Jessie. And I really go to fuck up for Jessie. I really like her. And it seems like what Santana say, I looked at the comments. One thing about the comments, they is not on your side. They're not on your side, Jessie, because in that clip that you just showed, that's you being in agreement. You can't say you wasn't in agreement just because you didn't say, oh, I agree, or it didn't come directly out of your mouth. There's plenty of times I see people get super chats and they'll be like, oh, we're not doing none of that. Or, all right, y'all going too far today. Or, ooh, y'all reading. Like, you know, like, I see people do that all the time. So I just think that, like, you lacked a little bit of accountability there. And we're going to roll into the Crystal thing in a second. But I've been thinking about this a lot. I do think we're in a different time, right? Because celebrities can now kind of like clap back, you know, like at magazines or radio shows or media personalities, like in a way that they weren't to back in the day. So back in the day, unless you like confronted somebody straight up like Wendy Williams, unless you went to the show, there was no real way to kind of like really defend yourself. And so seeing how we've talked so much about like parasocial relationships with celebrities, I also think that within that, sometimes, even me, I'll even throw myself in there. Sometimes we do get a little bit too comfortable on how we speak about people that at the end of the day, we do not know. Yes, their life is out there for us, you know, publicly for us to critique. But I do think that sometimes we may take it, we do feel a little bit too comfortable. Like I said, myself included, on how we talk about people, what we specifically talk about. Like, Jessie would never talk about, I don't know, like, I can't even speak. She would never talk about, I don't know, like maybe somebody that she worked with, like on a public platform in that way, right? Because that's not professional. That's none of your business at the end of the day. So it's just like, I can understand to a degree the frustration in general, not just from Cardi, but from some celebrities, when it's like, why is it that y'all feel like just because I'm a public persona that you can just say whatever about me and I can't respond? Like, it's one thing, again, for you to feel like, oh, you can't say nothing to me. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, well, you're making it that I can't say anything at all. No, you can say whatever you want to say, but you also got to be willing to take what comes back to you. And again, if we're being really honest, y'all are talking about somebody's child. Like, take all of the celebrity shit out of there. When you really boil it down to the basis of this, y'all are talking about somebody's child. And I've been saying this for ever since the whole thing happened with Crystal. I think we should just let it go at this point, because y'all are talking about a child. And even though, like I said, Crystal and Jessie want to make it like, oh, but that's the point. It's in the welfare of the child. Well, at this point, the child is already the fuck here. Child's already here. So us constantly talking about why they shouldn't be here or what the mama should have did to make sure that they were not here, it's like it doesn't make any sense at this point. I'm with Cardi when she says, I'm tired of y'all talking about something that I cannot change. The baby is here. We're moving forward. If y'all want to have the conversation again about her allegedly defending Stefan, that's one thing. But y'all keep going back to this baby that's already born and here. I don't understand why we're still having this conversation. And then, like I said, so with Crystal, right, from the read. So I'm not really going to make this a big thing because we already did this, but I just had to point this out after listening to it this week, the read this week. So y'all know the whole situation that happened a couple months ago when Crystal, you know, when everybody found out that Cardi was pregnant, and then Crystal did her whole little epic rant or whatever. And so this week on the read, right, they start to talk about what happened. And as soon as they start this segment, right, you hear Kid Fury like, why are you over there dancing? Like talking to Crystal, like, why are you over there dancing? And before he even started, I'm like, see, this lets me know before we even start that the majority of our points went completely over Crystal's head. That's number one. And number two, I'm like, she's definitely about to try to pull what they just had talked about, which is a Tamar Braxton, y'all owe me an apology when we don't. So I just want to go through really fast what she said, and then let's just listen. Here we go.
With the number of baby daddies and the quality of the baby daddies. It's about the fact that you keep reproducing with horrible people. Why do you do that? You keep reproducing with emotionally immature men who do not prioritize their children. They do not prioritize fatherhood in their lives. I don't know why you do that. It hurts the kids. Y'all were very, very irate at me. Ooh, you mad ass bitches made me trend for weeks and all this when I didn't do nothing but tell the goddamn truth. I didn't do nothing but tell the truth. Stefan Diggs, and this whole chef situation, and then Cardi jumping into it. Why?
Before I even let her go, okay, so again, it's like it completely, like I said when I initially talked about this, I'm gonna say it again. So why people were upset with you, the majority of the people completely went over your head. Because I don't remember, unless it was Birdie Gang, I'm talking about the people that got some actual sense. Like Ashley Miller, YouTube, shout out to her. Color Me Pink, shout out to her. Dominique Morgan on TikTok. I'm talking about people with actual sense. Nobody said that you were incorrect in saying that Cardi having a baby with Stefan didn't make sense, wasn't the smartest idea. Nobody said that you were wrong about saying that, you know, Stefan has all these kids and he has all these allegations. Nobody said that you were incorrect in that statement. Nobody said you were incorrect in that statement. So just to refresh her memory of what people were saying is that, number one, it felt like it was less of an opinion, like just a, overall opinion, and it felt like you really had something personally against this lady for having a baby that had nothing to do with you. That was really the number one reason. It was within your delivery, not necessarily just you being mean. It was more than that. Because again, you have people like me, like I said, people like Ashley Miller, who I know for a fact listens to the show consistently, who even felt like you were doing a lot. Number two, it felt like you were literally shaming her after the baby's already here. I mean, after she's already decided to keep the baby. The baby about to pop out of her vagina. And it came off like you were shaming somebody who was very, like she said, deliberate in making her decisions to keep her baby. And people don't really like when y'all try to shame pregnant motherfucking women. Sorry, it's not a fan. People are not a fan of that. Nobody, it's like, it went completely over her head. Because I didn't see, and like I said, unless it was like Barty Gang or something, I didn't see one person say Crystal was wrong because Stefan's a good guy. Like, I didn't see not one person's defense or upset be, what is Cardi talking about? Stefan is such a good guy. Who the fuck said that? Who the fuck said that?
Why would Cardi tweet about the situation?
Y'all got mad at me because y'all are also emotionally immature, because y'all also choose horrible baby daddies, because y'all also need to grow the fuck up just like Cardi does.
I don't feel like, I mean, I think we all are all emotionally immature to a degree, which she even said. I love my baby daddy, so I can't speak for nobody else. So that don't apply to me, and I still disagree with what the fuck you said, but continue.
And I'm gonna tell you this, if you don't find a therapist and work on your issues, because you got issues, baby. Most of us do. But the fact that you keep choosing these terrible people to reproduce with, even though you know they're terrible in advance, that's a sign something's really wrong. You know Offset was a horrible father. You knew he didn't take care of them kids and didn't really spend time with them before you came along. And what did you do? Gave him 3 more? Yes, because he didn't. He had already 3 or 4 kids before Cardi was with him. You knew that he wasn't really an active father, because both of y'all talked about how he didn't really have those kids around, didn't really coordinate with the different baby mamas and all that. And then Cardi came in the picture and was like, no, you got to do better, family, blah, blah, blah. That she pushed him into that and gave him 3 more. Stefan Diggs, all you had to do was Google him. I pray you at least Googled the nigga before you let him nut in you however many times. I pray you did. Stefan Diggs been had allegations. Been called a fuck nigga. Been called grimy. Why you gave these niggas kids, I don't know. But
She keeps going, but she pretty much continues to round back to the point that she feels like everybody. She didn't say everybody owes her an apology, but she does her see. Again, like I said, you completely missed the point. Nobody defended Stefan. Again, not that I saw. Nobody's defended Stefan. We're talking about how personally invested you sound like you are. And we're also talking about the fact that we're tired of you, they didn't like the fact that you shamed her. Point blank, period. I just want to say this. I want us to leave this shit the fuck alone. Like I said, let's talk about the whole Stefan Chef thing. I was with her. She was on a roll. I'm with her when she with her. She right when she right. But I want us to leave the situation about the baby alone. I need us to stop talking about people fucking children like they're not children as somebody who claims that they care about children. Please stop it. You can't continue to say that you care about children and then talk about them as if their mama should have flushed them down the damn toilet, even if that's how you really feel. It's not okay. They're here now. Like she said, it's not a dog that she can take the fuck back. So the baby is here. Let's let it the fuck go. Continuously coming on fucking SoundCloud, on freaking Spotify, on YouTube, and continuously talking about how this girl should have never had this baby. When this baby is already here, it's futile. It's stupid, and that child will eventually grow up and be able to hear things. We don't need y'all negative ass energy out here putting it on fucking children when y'all claim y'all care about children so much. Please. It's very annoying to say you care about children, but then continuously talk about them like that. It's not your kid. It's not your vagina. And to keep saying, well, why didn't you use contraception? You're talking like you know. How you know she didn't have sex with this man with a condom and it broke? How you know she ain't take the Plan B pill and it didn't work? How you know she didn't have an IUD and that shit fell out? How you know she wasn't on the pill and it didn't kick in? How do you know he didn't think that? How do you know that he didn't think maybe he got chip down there or whatever and then thought he couldn't have kids? All of this is assumption. And it's back to what I said about Jessie Wu. I'm sorry. Like I said, I will throw myself in there too. Sometimes I think as people that review this stuff and talk about celebrities, we sometimes get a little bit too comfortable in how we talk about people. And then when they respond, like for example, if Van Lathan would have hopped on his damn show and talked bad about me, however, because of the video that I made, okay, that's his business because I'm the one who said something as well. People are allowed to respond to the shit that we talk about. Period. If you are allowed to talk about this woman's vagina that you do not know, then why is she not allowed to respond back? Why? Because she has more fans than you? The point of the matter is that Jessie Wu is somebody that's big. Crystal is somebody that's big. So yes, you guys are gonna get it more than like somebody like me who talks about some shit because you have a bigger audience. That's just common sense. It's just common sense. But how about we just stop talking about this woman's vagina and her baby that's already here? Like she can go back in time and put the baby back in her vagina. It's done. It's dead. And at the end of the day, like I said, feel how you want to feel about what she did with Offset. But at the end of the day, that was her fucking husband. It was her husband. It's not like it wasn't just some random nigga like this nigga Stefan. Now that's a random nigga. But Offset, she was married to that man for almost 10 years. Yes, she had 3 kids with him. No, I don't blame her for that. It's her fucking husband. It's her husband. Yes, she had 3 kids by her husband. Oh, let me just call her a bad person for having 3 fucking kids with her damn husband. Let me just crucify her for that. No, I'm gonna crucify her I'm not gonna crucify her even for this new baby. Should she have made a better decision? Sure. But the baby the fuck is here. Let's let go and let God, Jesus. And last story before I go. Donnie McClurkin, we fall down, but we get up. You need Jesus. Them allegations allegedly against Donnie McClurkin is real nasty. And I'm gonna just tell you why it's funny. I was talking to my mom maybe last week. Donnie McClurkin used to date my babysitter back in the day. I had a babysitter that lived a block away in Brooklyn. Lived a block away from my aunt. Me and my 2 cousins went to her daycare, and she had this really huge big house, and she had 3 kids, but she also ran a daycare. We would go there Monday through Friday or whatever. And that's how I first knew who Donnie McClurkin was, because I would see him because them 2 dated for a long time. But as I got older, because she babysat me from maybe like 1st grade to 4th grade or some shit like that, something like that. But as I got older, I was looking at this man like, this man like her? Like, he like her like that? Because it never gave that. It always gave, he like her brother, but not her. So then when it came out that he was gay, I was like, oh, that makes all the sense in the world. That makes all the sense in the world that he's gay. But that story that's a sad story. And if that's true, under the jail. Under the jail, Donnie McClurkin. Under the jail. Y'all get in the comments, though. I don't know what the fuck else to talk about. I'm not talking about that Aiden and Doshi thing. Like I said, outside of that Van Lathan thing, I'm done. I'm over it. I don't give a shit. I'm done. Y'all get in the comments. I'm out. Bye.